This is the award-winning car talk show in Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive plays. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Konrad DeLong, Jeff Seekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. And we're going to get right to this next guest. And, you know, I want to preface this conversation by saying, you know, I guess that this is kind of like the day that we kind of thumb our noses at all of those electric car guys, and God knows that they've had their own set of problems this week with no electricity. What do you do, Kevin Douglas?
Hey, good morning, guys. I really appreciate you guys' show.
Thanks.
Although I got to tell you, on that last segment, for a second there, I thought I was tuned into the wrong place. I thought I was tuned into Wisconsin or Minneapolis when you guys talking about snow plows and everything else.
Yeah, we wanted everybody to relate down here in the hinterland.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, keeping it real, as it were.
I don't think we know what a snow plow is down here.
No.
Let me tell you, this week has been crazy, and us electric guys, well, my wife and I, we don't have a gas car, and you're thinking, oh my
God.
What happened? Well, we live in Houston, and my mom lives up in Austin, and she's 95, and I needed to get up there to help her out. So I drove up there on Saturday, 173 miles in my little Chevrolet Bolt EV, stayed up there the whole week, and drove out, went and got groceries and other stuff, and then drove back yesterday, another 173 miles back here, all electric. And so, you know what? It works just fine. As a matter of fact, my brother-in-law went to gas up his 4Runner, and he had to go to 3 gas stations because 2 of them, the first 2 he went to, the power was out and there was no gasoline. So there you go.
So I'm not good at math, generally speaking, but that's 250 miles, and I would imagine that there was a charge somewhere on that Bolt EV between actual trips. Am I correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
So you did find electricity up there.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. You know, 40% of the households in Austin lost electricity, but
Wow.
my mother and sister house did not, thank goodness. And so as soon as I got up there, I charged the car up full, expecting that we might. And then we just had these little 15-mile trips and stuff, but didn't lose electricity. And then I had the car charged up full before I came back to Houston. So I did have to charge to go up there, and I did have to charge to go back. The Bolt goes about 200 miles. So, even if you're having to make little short trips, I mean, folks didn't go to work. So,
right.
If you have a car that's got 200 miles of range and you've got 3-4 days where you might run to the store or something, it's not an issue.
So tell me, when you got to Austin, 173 miles on a 200-mile range, how long does it take to recharge on a 110 plug?
So I didn't charge it on a 110 plug because my sister and brother-in-law also have electric vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So they have a little charging station on 240. And so it took about 6 hours to get the car.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Did it take longer because it was so cold, or did the cold have any impact on your charging?
The cold does have impact. It does slow the charging down a little bit, maybe 5 to 10%. Obviously, she's got a garage, so I parked in the garage, and the cold does also have an impact on range. You can lose. On the Bolt, you can lose about 20 miles of range because of the cold weather. So, going up to Austin, it got down below 30 on my way up there, and instead of doing my typical 75 to 80 on the highway to keep up with everybody else, I did get down to, I think, about 60 miles an hour just to make sure that I was okay getting up there.
So, Kevin, I have to interrupt and ask: Did you catch a bunch of crap this week?
Oh, I tell you, Folks, first of all, everybody went into survival mode. There was no launching crap to anybody, right? I mean, everybody was just trying to help each other out.
Amen.
And so I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's amazing how much more interest there is in electric vehicles just in the last few years. It's really interesting.
Well, there needs to be a lot of interest because every manufacturer is spending billions of dollars on electric cars that are going to be flooding the market here in the next couple of years. And I would imagine that they got a lot of splaining to do, Lucy, especially after we've had all of this
Is
this
the
week.
infrastructure in place to charge all those cars if we do go that volume of electric cars? You know, you hear Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, you hear Toyota fussing about it. You know, they have rolling brownouts in California because they can't produce enough electricity, you know, and that didn't have anything to do with weather. And then you have the issues here with weather, which is kind of specific to that. But let me ask you another question on, you know, have you read all of the articles about the Ford truck and how they were taking the generator on those Ford trucks and powering their houses? That's a pretty creative turnaround on the Ford truck as well.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that if you have a hurricane event or something, people go get gasoline, people, you know, get ready for it, and you can charge these vehicles up. And then I actually put a 2 kilowatt inverter on our cars at home on the 12-volt system. If we have a power outage, I can actually power the fridge, the computer, the TV
from your Bolt.
From my Bolt, absolutely.
Oh wow!
You just run it off the 12 volts, and the 12 volts is run off of the big battery, and I hold in my EVs. I hold 140 kilowatt hours of electricity. So imagine, you know, they talk about battery storage for stabilizing the grid. We've got electric vehicles have a ton of energy in their vehicles that can be used, and it's called vehicle to home or vehicle to grid, and that's what that Ford was using. And Centerpoint had some pickups that actually had a big battery pack in them that they would be able to power up tools and other things off of the vehicle. So it's definitely something that's coming. It's going to harden the grid. You know, this was just us getting kicked in the teeth because of a lot of reasons that we're not really that well prepared. But we're gonna learn from this and make the grid a better grid. And also, there's great opportunities in what they call distributed generation and distributed capacity, and that's coming. That's going to be a great. In the 50s, we didn't have air conditioning, and they built the grid so that we could all have AC. If you talk to old Houstonians, you know, they had open windows and sat on the front porch, and then we had air conditioning, and we built the grid for that. We will get the grid built, and with the storage capacity of electric vehicles, it's actually going to be better.
Be interesting to see how that coordination comes together of the EV owners when disaster strikes, turning around and being the supplier of a limited amount of power back into the grid to keep things from going haywire.
Absolutely. You're going to have contracts with the utility, and the utility, just like they go out to their power producers and incentivize them to deliver power, they're going to do the same thing with the electric vehicle owners.
So how many miles do you have on your Bolt?
48,000.
Wow. And it seems like it's more than just around town driving if you're going back and forth to Austin with it.
Go back and forth to Austin, and we've got a Tesla Model 3, and we take that car to Knoxville, Tennessee. Our daughter, we got our first grandbaby in 2020. People are like, man, 2020, what a terrible year. We're just like, you know what? 2020 was okay because we are grandparents.
Congratulations.
That is a great drug. And that's 930 miles. We do it in about 16 hours. We stop 4 times to do about 30 minutes each time. Get out, get a snack, use the restroom, do a little walking. It's incredible. We drive up there, and I've been doing this a long time, and I'm still amazed. I go halfway across the country, all electric and back.
And is that finding the Tesla supercharge stations? Is that how you're doing it?
We use the supercharge stations. The car, one thing about these vehicles, they're all networked. You're right. Your navigation is networked. Everything is in the cloud. People say, how long does it take you to plan that trip? I punch in our daughter's address on the navigation screen, and 10 seconds later, it tells me exactly where I'm going to go, how far it is, how long I'm going to be there. All of the data is live on the network, so it knows how many of the stations within a charging station. They have like 8 terminals, 8 chargers, right? And it knows when those are being used, and it knows when they're going to be empty, because they charge you 2 cents a minute per charging, and then $1 a minute when the car is full.
Get off, right?
Yeah, get on and get off, make room for somebody else.
So the trip routing built into the vehicle is going to route you to a supercharge station as it knows you're getting to that depleted range of your vehicle. So
it knows the whole time.
Kind of like knowing where the gas station is.
When the hurricane took out southern Louisiana this last summer, it routed us up through Shreveport and Monroe because we couldn't go through Lake Charles and Lafayette and all that stuff.
Oh wow! Smarter than we are.
Smarter than we are. Actually, we humans built the thing, so we're smart.
Yeah. Thanks, Hal.
Darn right. Hal, you better open the pod bay door, or I'm pulling your grain chips.
I have to ask you, does ERCOT, does anybody with the government, the authority, the electric company, did they ever contact you and talk to you as an end user with an electric car about what you would like to see and what do you need? Does anybody ever call you from that kind of entity?
So there's lobbying groups for everything, and there's a lobbying groups for electric vehicles. It's called TechCetera. And TechCetera is a great group of folks. Most of them
are lawyers
involved in bringing renewables to the state of Texas. And there's actually an omnibus bill in the state legislature for this session that's going to deal with a whole bunch of issues that there are questions about. How do you price electricity? What are the market responses to electric vehicles? To answer your question, yes, there's many different government agencies that are involved in think tanks and other groups where electric vehicle users are being part of that and asked about how we can transition into the future of having electric vehicles as part of our transportation network.
Well, I have to tell you that it's a scary thought to think that with many people, obviously, well, most people, at least here in the Houston area, lost power at some point or another in the past 6 days. And I can only imagine the added chaos that it would be if you've got just half of the people using the grid to recharge their cars. I mean, that could be a serious issue. How are you going to get fire trucks to put out fires at homes? How are you going to get an ambulance to get somebody from their house to the hospital? And we could go on with examples, but you understand what I'm saying? And I'm thinking that they need to hurry up and get this grid thing figured out, and then get charging stations for automobiles or trucks, whatever. And they need to hurry up about it, because you know as well as I do, once these electric cars start hitting the market, they're going to have a lot of people buying them, and they're going to be really stuck in a not very good way
Well,
if something like this happens again.
Either that or, I'm trying to look at the good side of this is to coordinate with the EV owners to see, again, how they can feed back into the grid when times are needed, that it doesn't have to be viewed as the problem of EVs, though that's what we see. It can also be but that's going to take coordination between those in power and those with power.
Yep.
Touche.
No, it's going to be. Look, guys. I mean, it's all about information and incentives to the marketplace, and the way this is going to work is that you're going to have notices that go out to people, and folks are going to have their cars charged up. They're going to charge before the events happen. This is 2021. We know that cold air is coming down from the North Pole down here. We knew about it for a week. And there's no excuse. This whole excuse that infrastructure freezes up is ridiculous, because there's all this infrastructure is up north and it works just fine. And so it just needs, it's an example of
competency,
kind of getting overconfident about stuff and not doing what they need to do, not winterizing the way they've been told to do, and other things. And so we get our hand slapped over it. And when we have a bunch of electric vehicles, remember, this is going to take some years to happen. It's not like 5 million people are going to put electric vehicles onto the grid tomorrow. And so these things will get built up. People will be told to charge up ahead of time, and then we'll have this great advantage of having all this stored energy in electric vehicles that we can intelligently use across the grid. It's going to be better. I'm telling you, it's going to be a better place.
Well, you, sir, are the man about town this week. So have you got other interviews lined up back to back to back this entire weekend?
No, I'm not that popular, but I'm sure that I will have my opportunities to visit. We just had unfortunately, a bunch of stuff got canceled this week, so we've got meetings with Texetera and Evolve Houston and other things that are happening either this week coming up or the week after that. I also have a real job, so I fly airplanes for a living, so it's not like I can do this stuff full time.
Gotcha. Well, Kevin, do you guys have a website, Houston Electric Association? Auto
Yes,
Electric?
sir.
You do?
Yes, sir. It's HEAA.org.
Okay. Because I know that you'll have some answers up there. I know that you'll be addressing all of this, and you'll also be saying, well, I explained all of this on the In Wheel Time program on Saturday, and you missed out.
No, they can listen to the podcast next week.
That's right.
Thank you. Well, Kevin, it's great to talk to you as always. Thanks so much, and we really appreciate your humor and your good sense about you when it comes to this sort of stuff. And we'll talk to you again soon. We'll see how things are going this summer.
Well, I really enjoy you guys, and I enjoy the show, so y'all keep it going.
Thanks so much again, Kev. We really appreciate you. All right. So it's time now for Konrad's Car Clinic. Do you have that piece of paper ready?
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about, since we're all building into the electric life of things, today we're going to talk about how to jumpstart a car. I'll be quite honest with you. I've been in the car business for a long
Your whole
time.
life.
And the number one reason cars get towed into a shop to get repaired is a dead battery. Well, this week, your battery was overstressed because it was cold.
Kind of like Don Armstrong.
That you were cold?
Stressed.
No, I think I won't go there. Stressed. You were stressed. So as weather becomes colder, it becomes more common to have a dead battery because the cold reduces the capacity of the battery. And when it does that, when you go to hit the key to start it, it may just make noises or you like all that?
I do.
Or it may not do anything. So then your next question is, well, I need a jump start. Well, jump starting a car can be kind of easy, and you can make it easier on yourself if you understand how to do it and where to do it and how to hook up correctly. So Jumper cables come in various lengths. I'm going to tell you to get at least a 12-foot set of jumper cables, and the reason for that is they sell a 6-foot set. Well, if you buy a 6-foot set of jumper cables, you need to know where the battery is in your car, and you need to know where the battery is in the car you're going to jump, because if it's longer than 6 feet away, you're not going to reach it, so you have to kind of park battery to battery to get the cables. A 12-foot cable, you can kind of jump a longer distance. Battery cables jumper cables come red and black for a reason. Under the hood of your car, there is a red and a black cable. You want to make sure you hook up to the correct color. Otherwise, you can cause catastrophic damage to both vehicles if you're not really
if you don't kill yourself first.
But you don't always hook it battery to battery. There are some vehicles you hook to the frame versus
right, and that's
or a charging post rather than
there's most cars today have a charging post on them where it's going to have like a little red cover on it, and you're going to pull that little red cover off of it and hook the jumper cable to it. Now, what you don't want to buy are jumper cables that are just all copper, and you can see the copper in your hands, because if you touch those two things together, that spark can damage your car.
Shocking.
So you want to get So you want to get jumper cables that have a coating or a plastic cover on the clamps so that you don't accidentally touch those two cables together. So when you're going to jump a car, my way of doing it is to leave your car that's got a good battery running. Hook the jumper cables up to it first. Hook up the red cable first. Hook up the black cable. Make sure the other end cables aren't touching each other, or you just popped something in your car, and that's not good. Then go to the other car, hook up the red cable first, and always hook up the black cable second. Now, underneath the hood, there's going to be jumper posts, or you're going to jump right on the battery. I'm not a believer in hooking that last black cable up to the battery. I want to hook that last black cable up to something pretty heavy metal underneath the hood if you can. Corvettes are a real pain to jumpstart, first off of where the battery is, and it's not a metal car, it's a glass car. But a lot of cars now even have a ground post to hook that last cable up to. And it will spark, and don't freak out about the spark. It's going to spark because now all of a sudden the power from the good car is charging the dead battery in the old car. So I like to do it running. Some people will tell you not to do it running. Either way, I just prefer to do it running, because if all of a sudden it draws your battery down as you're trying to start their car, now neither car starts, and then you're calling AAA.
You're screwed.
You're screwed.
I've always done it with the car running. You always have to
do it with the car running. And then you really want to, once you hook up to the car with the dead battery, let the car run a few minutes. Let the good car run a few minutes to start pushing a charge in. Even if you can kind of raise the RPM up in it a little bit so that the alternator from the good car starts to charge the dead battery in the old car, depending on how dead that battery is. And I'm going to tell you, give it 3, 4, 5 minutes to do that, and that'll push enough of a charge into the dead battery. Then go over, start the car up. And when you start the car up, you want to disconnect the dead battery car first, and then disconnect the good car with the good battery car second. But again, the black cable is the last one you always want to handle. You know, the red cable, take it on and off, and then take the black cables off. And that's a safe way to jumpstart your car.
Thank you so much for that little schooling.
Yep, and I'm a week late. I should have done this story last week, because lots of people, I've talked to a bunch of shops, and a bunch of shops have gotten batteries in, cars with dead batteries in. And the other big thing about a dead battery, it might not be a bad battery. It may be a lot of corrosion around the battery that's causing the battery to go bad, and it also keeps the starter from charging it.
A couple of headlines making stories this week. Tesla leapfrogged Audi in 2020 to become the 4th largest luxury vehicle brand in the U.S. and is closing in on the top 3 of BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz, according to new vehicle registration data from Experian. The electric vehicle vehicle maker registered 200,000 vehicles last year to grab the number 4 spot from Audi, which registered 183,000 plus vehicles. A year earlier, Audi topped Tesla by almost 50,000. Tesla recently redesigned its aging Model S and Model Y vehicles for the first time since their launch, and CEO Elon Musk said the deliveries of the Cybertruck pickup could start by the end of this year. With billions in capital raised and valuations in some cases eclipsing those of public dealership groups, online used vehicle startups appear ready to gobble up market share. Rapid growth by Carvana and other online players has created one of the most watched situations in auto retailing. Carvana, Vroom, Shift Technologies, and most recently CarLotz have raised nearly $4 billion. And while they have yet to report profits as public companies, investors see nothing but daylight on the online used space. I cannot imagine buying a car sight unseen and having it delivered to your house. But
That's not me.
We've got here in Houston, not too far from here, is Texas Direct. Now, Texas Direct was sold to Vroom a couple of years ago.
I did not know that.
But it still does business as Texas Direct. They are the largest, up 2 years ago, the largest online car sales organization as an individual location.
Well, Carvana struggled when it first started, and they built these monstrosity vending machines.
Which
and
is
I
their
thought,
gimmick.
How stupid. Well, they went public in 2017, and that particular stock dazzled the market.
Did you buy some?
I did not. After trading at about $93 at the start of 2020 and dropping to less than $30 in the early weeks of the coronavirus pandemic, Carvana's shares have since boomed, selling for as high as around $300 in recent weeks.
You didn't buy any?
I didn't. It closed last week with a share price of $296.08 and a market capitalization of $50.86 billion.
Wish I'd have bought
far
more.
outstripping the combined values of the 6 public dealership groups. Sensing opportunity and with the pandemic juicing interest in online vehicle sales, Vroom, Shift, and CarLotz all went public within the past 9 months.
Because of their marketing.
I'm sorry. I turned you off.
Sorry. It's because of their marketing. They've put the commercials out there, and they've had Super Bowl stuff going on. So, kudos to them to get the marketing out.
J.P. Morgan analysts predict that 12% of all used vehicle sales will happen online by 2030 versus less than 1% today. They expect Carvana to own the lion's share of them, 35%. We got more of the In Wheel Time show coming up right after a couple breaks. If you're in charge of your company's small, medium, or large business anywhere in the U.S., let the On Hold Company help you retain customers and promote your business on your telephone system. Promote special sales or company info when placed on hold. The On Hold Company provides custom on-hold messages with professional male or female voices, licensed background music with no long-term contract, no monthly recurring bill, and updates your messages as needed. Call the On Hold Company at 713-223-HOLD or go to onhold.net. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, March 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto-mods, all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, March 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, March 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.